when you start thinking that your thoughts are actually manipulating the universe, you're now participating in.
Is it my faith that's doing it, or is it my faith in a God that...
I was so angry, so miserable, so essentially evil.
Ruslan.
So in doing the network marketing, you're getting introduced to Christians, but you're also getting introduced to prosperity and New Age, and it's just kind of all overlapping and overflowing with each other.
It's like a huge mess. Every time I talk about it, I'm like, where was my brain in this whole entire thing?
Well, the tricky part with New Age is this packaging of it, that it's scientific.
Yeah.
And they'll get really into scientific. And the hard part is, as a Christian, we believe that heaven touches earth. We believe that Jesus comes, the God-man, and dies for the sins of the world to create a pathway for us to be in right standing with God and experience a piece of heaven on earth, but also go to, spend eternity and all that kind of stuff. And that's the amazing good news. So we believe that there is a material created order that God set in motion, and then there is a divine God that's divine, and he has angels, and then there's demons and principalities and all that kind of stuff. So we believe that, but the tricky part is that New Age will kind of tap into that, but it'll lean back into us having some form of divinity or magic or whatever you want to call it within ourselves. And I think this is very appealing to even Christians, right? Because you pull verses out like, you'll do greater things than I, right? And so you're thinking like, well, Jesus said it. Like we can move mountains with our brain, right? Like if you have faith, you can move them. And you remove all the literary elements from that, which is no one ever literally moves mountains. Yeah, that's a language used, right? Hyperbole, all these different things. And I think it could be very tricky for Christians to navigate because is it my faith that's doing it, or is it my faith in a God that is a supernatural being that can move matter and shape our realities to be different through because he's all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good, right? And so I think it could get really tricky for people in navigating this. And when you package it like, oh, this is science, which it's not, and we can get into that, a lot of people are led astray into this stuff.
Yeah. So I was so into this whole it's science thing that even when I was a Christian, I remember talking to somebody. I was outside of my uncle's deli. I remember it like it was yesterday. And we were talking about Jesus. And I'm like, well, maybe Jesus was able to walk through walls because he knew how quantum physics actually worked. And he has control over, which essentially he does have control over it. But like, this is how I'm pairing all of this stuff together. Yeah. Right? So I always tell people to look into the origins of the things that you believe. This is how I came to Christ, was looking into the origins of different worldviews, right? And one of them is like Hinduism and Buddhism. This is pantheistic worldviews, which the law of attraction believes in. They believe in pantheism. They're a mess too. So there's New Age, New Thought, and then there's Word of Faith, which is the Christian version of all of this, right? So I call the law of attraction a gateway drug to spiritual heroin because it sends you chasing a feeling. And I call Word of Faith and prosperity preaching faith fentanyl, right? So the whole science thing, they kind of shoot themselves in the foot when it comes to that because this pantheistic, you are God, I am God, we are one with the universe is infinitely abundant, all of that stuff. Science does not, it's not in their favor because we have the evidence for the Big Bang, an overwhelming amount of evidence for the beginning of a universe. So if you're going to believe that the universe is infinite, but yet we have all of this information showing us that there's a beginning of the universe, and you're believing the universe is infinite, the universe is God, we are one with God, you're now believing in a finite God because we have a beginning. Not only do we have a beginning, but we have an end. The second law of thermodynamics shows that usable energy is being transferred into non-usable energy. So eventually all of the usable energy that we have in this universe is going to run out. And now you have kind of essentially just a dead universe, right? So to equate the universe with God, it sounds real spiritual and real, ooh, wow, that's beautiful, divinity and everything. But it's you're now limiting God, and
that's interesting. You're hitting it from that perspective because I've always just thought, well, most of science is trying to deal with material equations, right? Not immaterial things that we can't measure and see.
Which is how they shoot themselves in the foot.
Right, because when you start saying things like your thoughts are things, your feelings are vibrations, your words create your worlds, that's nonsense.
Yeah, we also have
if we're talking straight science.
Yeah.
Right, you're talking straight science. Now, Jesus being able to interfere with our laws of the material world is what we're talking about. And I would say to some degree principalities and demons and all that kind of stuff, right? Though I believe Jesus is all-knowing, all-present, all-powerful. God's all-knowing, all-present, all-powerful. Demons are not, right? So I think that's the part where I go, wait a minute, no, that's not how it works. Like your thoughts aren't things, your words can't. And the tricky part is when you're talking to people who are very successful and they think it's because of this. And I try to walk them back through and it's like, nah, bro, like it's because you worked your freaking face off.
Yep.
It's because you worked your face off. Sure, maybe the visualization helped.
Yeah.
Maybe you believing that you can do it helped. But it wasn't that you thought it and then it happened. It's that you thought it, you believed that you can do it, and then you went and did it for a long time, and then you saw results.
Yep.
So it's like tricky trying to talk to people who are successful because they think they got it. And it's like, no, you're missing the Proverbs. Like the Proverbs is God's way of doing things. It's God's order to things. So it's so close to the truth in ways that it can just deceive people into not needing to be dependent on Jesus because they think they could just be dependent on their mind.
Hey, you want to see something kind of crazy? Over 75% of the people that watch this channel are not subscribed. Please consider subscribing and turning your bell notification on so that you don't miss anything we have going here. All right? Peace.
It's self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Right. Me and my wife, we want a Bronco, right? Well, I do. She doesn't really want it, but I want a Bronco. But when we started talking about Broncos, we started seeing them all the time, right? And if you're a new ager and you're believing in the law of attraction, you're thinking that you're now seeing these Broncos everywhere because the universe is revealing them to you. It's getting closer to you. You're drawing them in, but it's actually not the universe. It's I forget the exact name of it. It's like Boehner-Hoffman or something like that phenomenon in which we're so bombarded by everything that our brain filters out things that we do not need to pay attention to, so that way we can have coherent conversations and not drive our car off of a cliff, right? So when you talk about something though and you bring something to the forefront of your mind, now your mind is just more aware of it. So it's going to notice it in places, right? And this is also why, I have a whole chapter in my book talking about, well, what about the people who attribute their success to the law of attraction? These self-fulfilling prophecies of, I started focusing on this and then I saw it everywhere. And, I felt like I felt the universe was bringing people into my life. No, it's just that now your goals are at the forefront of your mind. So you're paying more attention to when an opportunity arises and say, ooh, I could jump on that, right?
Yes.
And then...
And our brains are powerful in a psychological sense.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So the idea of belief is huge in that it is a motivating contributor to being able to do something. This is in the power of habit, right? So like when people go through the 12 steps in the Alcoholics Anonymous program, which was initially a Christian program, ironically enough, and then they kind of like removed God, removed the God of the Bible from it, but they had to have something in there. So they say like whatever your higher source is, whatever your higher power is, because they've studied and they're like, people who have faith are more likely, even if they have faith in nothing, right? If they have faith in their own mind or God or whatever, they're more likely to achieve their goals, right? And there is a component to our brains being powerful, but not in the sense that we're breaking the laws of physics.
We're not. When you start thinking that your thoughts are actually manipulating the universe, you're now participating in sorcery, right? So let's say it does work. Let's say the law of attraction does work, and what you focus on, you attract into your life. We're not supposed to be doing that as Christians. Now, my whole book is about how that's not how it works, right? Because if something's a law, it has to happen 100% of the time. And it's logically impossible for that to be true when it comes to the law of attraction. But so your thoughts influence your emotions, your emotions influence your actions influence your results in life.
Yes.
So I have watched, being in the MLM industry, I've watched people go from broke to multimillionaire and then attribute that to the law of attraction. And I'm like, bro, I watched you build this thing, sleepless nights, 10, 15 presentations a day, driving from Brooklyn, driving to Connecticut, driving to Jersey, building. David Peach, prime example, right? Dude does not believe in the law of attraction at all. This is the person who helped me in my Christian walk. He came into that company, hit the top level of the company in 10 months, faster than anybody else did it. No vision boards, no quantum physics, no putting it out into the universe, no speaking it into existence. He tore down the walls at his chiropractic office so he could fit more people in the room to do the presentations so that way his team could grow and have a place to be grown. Top level of the company in 10 months, $1 million in rolling 12 months in 1,000 days. Was it the law of attraction? No. He worked his butt off. And that's the X factor of all of these success stories is that they can attribute it to the law of attraction all they want. But if I look at your life and I see how you're living, you're waking up at 4 a.m, you're getting your stuff going, doing your meditations, obviously, saying your affirmations, but then you're going to work. You're working your butt off. And then afterwards you want to give away all of that credit to something as arbitrary as the universe and the law of attraction. Doesn't even care if you wake up the next day. You know, it blows my mind. But they are just they're blind to it because The Secret is one of the biggest explosions of bringing law of attraction to the masses, right? When you get that mindset of now I can attract anything that I want, that affects how you're going to live your life, right? Because you're now going to work harder. You have a more positive attitude. You're better to be around. Your associates and family members and potential customers, they want to be around you more because you are essentially more attractive. Because in my case, I was less of a douche. You know what I mean? I was so angry, so miserable, so essentially evil. When I changed, people noticed, right? But I changed because I thought that if I changed the way that I think, the universe was going to bend to my will, right? So
let's go back to The Secret, though.
Yeah.
There was a lady in The Secret who thought she was going to get healed.
Oh, yeah.
Of, was it cancer?
Yeah.
And like refused to go to chemo?
Yeah, so they have...
And then she proclaimed that she was saved in the documentary, right?
In the documentary, Kathy Goodman, she's in the section called The Secret to Health, right? And in it, she explains how she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she said that no, she rejects that, and that she also rejected chemotherapy, rejected modern medicine, and just was going to beat this with her mind. So she claims that she overcame breast cancer, and she's in the documentary, she's in the book, and this is a powerful story, right? But people don't know 3 years after that came out, she died of breast cancer. So now you got her in the movie telling you and me that if we just think positively about whatever ailments we may have, we can overcome them without any real medical treatment. But then this person actually died of the same thing that she's telling us that we could overcome. That's dangerous.
It's very dangerous. And it's dangerous because, again, there's a Christian parallel to this called the prosperity, health, wealth, name it, claim it aspect, where my faith will heal me. Right? So it's like a word. It's like a faith in faith instead of a faith in God. Because
a faith force.
Because a faith in God will tell you, take your butt to the freaking doctor. Go listen to the doctor.
I built these people up for you.
Come on.
You know? I built these people up. I built up modern medicine for you, for my children to have access to have healthy lives. And you're going to reject it because you think the universe is going to do it, or because some pastor in a pulpit is telling you that if you activate the faith force, and if you don't get healed, you're told that you don't have enough faith.
You don't have enough faith,
What a disgusting thing to do.
And this is the dangers of it, right? Like the people could be like, well, you don't know our brains, blah, 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 blah. You don't know how, and then you go, okay, cool. Maybe I don't know. However, there's clear depictions in the daggone movie itself of how dangerous this stuff can be, and can be to Christians as well. And I've known folks that, believe they could get healed and all these things, and then it just doesn't go the way. Or worse, not worse actually, not as worse when you think about it, but I know folks who They're believing God for their financial breakthrough.
Yeah.
They're believing God for their financial
working on
miracle.
it, right?
And not working on it,
Yeah.
not doing any of the practical stuff. And you just think there's just going to be breakthrough. And it's like, well, you could think that, you could believe that, you can claim it and claim it. But if you don't have a plan, if you don't have your hands to the plow, if you don't have land to work, it's not going to happen.
It's New Age Christianity.
It's New Age Christianity.
Yeah.
And it leaves people disenchanted and disheartened and delusioned and what is this? And then people will oftentimes deconvert. You know.
Hey, if you want to see the extended version of this podcast, completely unedited, consider partnering with us in our online community for as little as $5 a month. In exchange, you get access to these podcasts as we stream them live before anyone else gets to see them. You get access to the replay of our daily after party streams, access to our private Discord server, access to discount codes, and so much more. So help us continue contextualizing the gospel through media, podcasting, and YouTube, and partner with us for as little as $5 a month. Also, be sure to follow us on the Spotify podcast app, on Facebook, and on Instagram. We're constantly posting content there that I think you'll find extremely valuable. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.